Hello students, I believe the voice is clear for you and it is audible from your end. Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? If you are able to see the question from your end, students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if the question is visible from your end? Thank you very much, students. So today we are going to do a very good question on group accounting and strategy. These two questions are very, very important for the students to understand how to write the answers in the examination, because the answers needs to be generally blended. So the students needs to get that maturity to do it in a blended manner. Now, students, this is a very, very good question on consolidation, which I will be guiding to you so that it will be very easy for you all to understand. And I will do a small review also on how the consolidation generally works also. Now, students, if you observe this question, now they are giving you the following. Now, as I told you, whenever you go to the examination, before you write the answer, do the framing, question framing. Understand it very well, students. Question framing. Framing is very important. The reason why I always say framing is very important is your answers needs to be always specific to the question requirement of the examiner. So always make sure the question frame is done properly. So the first one is discuss the challenges associated with determining control of the company Dream Sky based on the proposal made by David. Now, generally, when you read the question from the bottom, that is the requirement, you may not get the understanding, but good thing is you can identify the keywords. Now, determining the control of the company Dream Sky. So there is something related to business combination based on the proposal made by David. So I'll write down here, determining the control of the company Dream Sky, of the company, what students? Dream Sky, based on the proposal of David. So we have to understand who is David, because David is a person who just came from the case study. Once again, I'm repeating, students, David is a person who came from the case study. David is a person who came from the case study, and the percentage of the marks in this case is 30%. So effectively, students, it is 7.5 marks. Understand it very well. It is how many marks, students? It's only 7.5 marks. How did I get 7.5 marks? Very simple. That is 25 marks multiplied by 30%. So it is 7.5 marks. Now, students, coming to the next one, secondly requirement, how the investment made in Dream Sky will be accounted. How the investment made in Dream Sky will be accounted in the consolidated financial statement. So how the investment made in Dream Sky, will be accounted in the consolidated financial statements. That is one more thing. And then, students, thirdly, recommend with reason how can Happywell initiate a strategy to work with Dream Sky after the acquisition. Formulation of a strategy to work with Dream Sky. To work with what, students? Dream Sky. So effectively in this case it is 40%, and effectively in this case also it is 30%. So in this case effectively it will be 7.5 marks in total. And then, students, in this case effectively this will be 10 marks in total for your understanding. So I have to be very precise on what I have to do. The first thing is control of the company. That is one thing. The second thing is how the investment in Dream Sky will be accounted and formulation of strategy in Dream Sky. A student who has some knowledge about the case study should be able to recall Dream Sky. Now, students, I am just taking you to the pre-seed material. Dream Sky is a website where they give tailored package holidays. So every student needs to be aware of this so that he will be able to think little better when he is going to the examination. So this is the question frame. Now, students, as I told you, when you go to the examination, you need to know the theory. I have to be nothing about that, but you have to understand the requirement very well. So what did I understand? What did I understand statement? Now, when you are doing mock students, I always recommend you to write what did I understand so that as a teacher, I can easily identify your application skill. I can easily identify your application skill. Now, students, in this case, let's assume, hi, thank you very much for your valuable time. You are aware, currently I am in Australia for my vacation. The board has sent me an email regarding the acquisition of Dream Sky website. Please be kind enough to refer the reference material. I need your response on the following. Delegation of duty of whom students, our finance director. Duty. Thomas has asked us to do his duty. That is very clear. And the question is acquisition of Dream Sky website. Acquisition of what, students? Dream Sky website. So that is the first understanding there. Now let's come to the reference material. Now this is the reference material we have to analyze. So to the management of Happywell, I'm writing this mail. Now this email has been sent by David. Here, David. Now David was there in our question. So I'm writing this mail to you since you have shown me some interest to acquire Dream Sky, the online website. As the founder of this company, so who is the founder of this company? David. David is the founder of this company. I'm very delighted to this offer. As you are aware that we are an unquoted entity, and at the moment we have been doing well in tailored holiday package. Since we have lots of resources, since you have lots of resources, the website will have more benefits to the customers as well. Therefore, these are the terms and conditions that management of Dream Sky is proposing. So I will write down here the second paragraph. What I understand is David, the founder of whom, students, the founder of Dream Sky. David is the founder of what, students? Dream Sky. Understand it very clearly. David is the founder of Dream Sky. I believe that is practically clear for you all. Can I get a confirmation there? And his proposals. So these are his proposals. That is the understanding there. Now, students, let's analyze the proposal one by one. We are providing 60% stake in our company if the management can invest 30 million. So I will give you the idea, 60% stake, management, investing how much, students? Investing 30 million investment. And then, students, the remaining 40% of the stake will be held by myself. So the non-controlling interest, so the balance in this case is 40%, and it will be with whom, students? David. David will have 40%. The management promise you that we will not be issuing any new shares without your consent. So no new shares will be offered without the consent. Without the what, students? Without the consent. I believe everyone got that clearly. No new shares will be offered without the consent of the management. I believe that is also very clear. Okay. The board will have 7 directors. So myself, that is David, one director, 3 nominated by myself. So David plus how much students? 3 directors. So totally, there are how many directors? 4 directors. And what is the stake? 40% stake. And 3 directors from Happywell. So 3 directors from which company, students? Happywell. And how much is their stake, students? If I am not mistaken, it is how many percent, students? It is 60%. Again, understand it very well. 3%, it is 60%. I believe that is clear. Now, if I am not mistaken, students, what I will continue is a basic application. It's not so complicated, students. It's very easy to understand as well. All the board decisions will be determined by a simple majority. What does that sentence mean? When the decision making is taking place, simple majority means this is only simple majority. That means 4 directors. Now, although we have less than 50% of the voting rights, ownership, the voting rights or the participation, we have 4 directors. So there are high chances that these 4 directors can effectively make a simple majority as well. And then further, myself has the right, not the obligation, to buy back the investment of 30 million in 5 years' time. So David can buy back the 60% investment from Happywell. So he can buy back also that. Very, 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 very important decisions that you have to make. Dream Sky website will directly connect customers to Happywell with tailored needs are compatible. So the website will connect the customers only. There will be no changes in the brand and there will be no other support provided other than this. That means only booking services will be provided. In simple language, if I'm not mistaken, it is referral. Students, what did I understand statement? Are you clear with that? What did I understand statement? Students, when you go to the examination, please write something called what did I understand statement. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students? If you are clear with that, what did I understand statements? Excellent. Thank you very much, students. Now, students, if you do not mind, I will take around 7 minutes of your precious time and I will little bit explain something related to some basic application. So students, coming forward. Students, can I get a confirmation from you all if you can see my writing book, students? Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all if the writing book is visible? Thanks for your patience. Thanks a lot, students. So let's work on this basics of IFRS 10. So I'll write down here IFRS 10, consolidation, and IFRS 3, business combination. Now, students, I'm going to teach you theory, and then I will start doing our question so that you will understand how management case study works. It's a little bit tricky exam, students. Now, if you observe here, let's assume 100% investment. Let's take a company for your understanding like Tata. So Tata, let's assume, has invested In Air India, let's assume students, they have taken over Air India, they say, so 100%. So in technical language, if a company owns 100% of holdings, we effectively call this as fully owned subsidiary. It is effectively called as fully owned what students? Subsidiary. It is called as fully owned subsidiary. That is very clear. Now, students, if you observe, a company has invested within a range, look at this carefully, within a range of 51% to 99%, we call this range, within this range, we call this range effectively as partially owned subsidiary. What is this, students? Partially owned subsidiary. Partially owned subsidiary. Partially owned subsidiary. Now, suppose, let's assume in a situation, Tata has acquired Jaguar. Okay. Now, Jaguar company, if Tata has acquired 60% of the Jaguar, now 60% means you have controlling right, because technically, if you have more than 51% ownership in a company, you have controlling rights. Now, if Tata has invested 60% in Jaguar, the NCI balance is how much? The NCI balance is how much? 40%. So I believe this is also very clear for you all. Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you understood non-controlling interest and partially owned subsidiary? Fully owned subsidiary means everything, and that is it. Excellent. Now, students, there is a situation of 50-50. So 50-50 means we call it as joint venture. So in that particular case of 50-50 joint venture, what we have to do is a very basic application like Tata and Starbucks. Now, Tata and Starbucks are effectively 50-50 ownership. Then, students, the next one is in simple language, the range. The range is like this. If the range is somewhat around 21% to what? 49%, we effectively call this range as an associate. It is known as what, students? Associate. So associate means you do not have control. You have something called significant influence. You can participate in the board only. And then, students, if the investment range is from here, in simple language, if I'm not mistaken, 1% to 20%, we effectively call this particular investment range as IFRS 9 simple investment. IFRS 9 simple investment. Students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are able to understand this? In the chat box, if you are able to understand this, can I get a confirmation? I have given the full detail in the recordings, but I believe it is very clear for you all. Thank you. Now, students, a student should technically know this, but only knowing this will not ensure that the student will pass. Because now, if you observe, technically, if you have more than 51%, you are owning the company. Now, if you see our situation here, we are having 60% stake, and David is having how many percent stake, students? David is having only 40% stake. So, in the rule base, we are the controlling stakeholders. That is the right definition wise, we are the controlling stakeholders. But my question to you, now see carefully, students, my question to you, in this case, do you think we are the controlling stakeholders? Yes or no? Technically, 60% ownership we have, but do you think are we the controlling stakeholders in this case? In this case, understand it very well. Now, the main reason students fail this exam, especially the students without working experience, they will memorize everything. And they will say more than 51%, yes, it's a subsidiary. No, in this case, no. The reason is, if you observe here, students, David is very cunning. David is very cunning. What is David doing? He has 4 directors in total. He has 4 directors in total in this case. So, although we do have ownership of 60%, do we have technically a control? We do not have a control. We do not have a control because decision making is only real control. When there is a decision making, a board decision, I think David will be dominating. David will be dominating. Students, did you get that point of view, students? David will be dominating. So in this case, we cannot consider that we have control over this. The controlling power is not there, students. Now, are you clear with that control knowledge? Are you clear with that control knowledge? 4 out of 7. So majority is with whom? Majority is with David. Students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with that, students? If you are clear with that, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? So the management case study, technical, you need to write, counter-attack the technical, saying technically correct, practically needs some adjustment. Technically correct, practically needs some adjustment. So students, now I'm going to write the answer. So I believe it has given a better clarity for you all. So I'll just finish this answer. So I'll write down here answer. And students, I'll just ensure I have a format, just as I told you, to, if I'm not mistaken, our finance director, because he is the one who asked for us, Thomas Leomo from finance manager, subject evaluation of acquisition of Dream Sky and strategy formulation, and then the date. Now, exam, sometimes they may mention the date, but for this purpose, I'm writing the today's date, 20th April 2023. So I'll quickly finish this with a small introduction. It's not so complicated. It's a very, very basic point of explanation. So let's work on this. It's not so complicated. So in this, I will just write down here. Thank you very much for the mail. I have responded on the consideration of control, the accounting treatment, and also the recommended strategy to be implemented by Dream Sky to be implemented on Dream Sky after the acquisition. Now, students, I'm going to write down here. Determination of control. Students, in exams, always remember the technical knowledge. They give marks for that. Because in this provision, not provision, your feedback form, they will be always very much sincere whether the student is at least aware about the knowledge areas. IFRS 10 business, IFRS 10 consolidated financial statements states that an entity with more than half of the share ownership is deemed to be the parent entity with the controlling stake. However, other factors such as voting rights to the company process, and other rights also needs to be considered when determining the control of an entity. So students, technical reference, it is very clear at the moment. Now students, I'm coming to the business application at the moment so that you will get that clarity very, very well. Now students, I'm going to consider the business consideration. Generally, there needs to be power on decision making to ensure that an entity has control. In this case, as per David, he may represent 4 board of directors, and Happywell may represent only 3 board of directors. Therefore, in that case, as per a simple majority, David will effectively have the control in the company. I believe that is practically clear. So in simple language, David has the power on decision making, although he has only stated a consent will be obtained before issuing any additional shares. Meaning, they may keep us informed. Only that is the meaning of that statement. Students, are you clear with that first explanation point there? Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students? If you are clear with that first explanation point here, are you fine with that, students, about the David's policy? Because that is very, very important to us. Excellent. Now, students, if you observe, another biggest problem with this terms and condition is, now students, they are only giving us the referral. But if you have control, if it is a real acquisition, can you also make decision on the operating policy, students? Yes or no? Now here, they are not allowing us to change the brand also. They are not allowing us anything. They are having the full control even in the operational policies. And also students, they will only give us our stake, that is 60% worth dividend. They will give only that, students. So indirectly, students, this is more like an investment rather than an acquisition. Are you understanding that point of view, students? This is more like an investment rather than what, students? An acquisition. So students, again, I'm going to counterattack. I'm going to write the theory and I'm going to counterattack with the practical factors to be considered. Now, students, in this case, IFRS 10 states that the investors needs to have rights or exposure of variable returns, of rights or exposures of what, students? Variable returns from the investee. That means, students, the company can have rights on dividend and also key operational policies. Now, students, I'm going to continue this more in detail so that you will get the understanding very, very well. So can I continue, students? Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you are fine with this? Can I quickly get a confirmation? So dividends and operating policies, understand it very well. This is very, very important. Rights on exposure of variable return. That's a technical word, students. And again, students, I'm taking this from the textbook and the past paper. So these notes even can be used on your examination as well. So students, I'm going to continue this sentence in more counter-attacking so that it will be very easy for you to understand in detail. So I'm going to continue this sentence more. In this case, the company is generally eligible for, if I'm not mistaken, students, generally eligible for, I'll write down here, students, dividend. However, the statement from David is very clear that the Happywell cannot get any direct, if I'm not mistaken, participation on the operating and financing policies Students, I believe you are clear with that, students. Operating and financing policies. Example, the website is only a referral. And also there needs to be a consideration. Where the company is also able to have some, if I'm not mistaken, control over operational policies. But in this case, there is no such policies. Therefore, once again, there is no evidence of control. Students, I believe that is also very, very clear for you all at the moment. Now, the next thing, students, if I'm not mistaken, one thing we do not have anything, students. And the next thing, students, if I'm not mistaken, the buyback option. Now, students, you see here, David can buy back the shares that was invested by Happywell. So, do you feel that it's like a redeemable? It is a redeemable. Generally, students, investments are not redeemable. Are you understanding what I'm saying there, students? One more point here. When you invest in a company, there is nothing called a redeemability. Are you clear with what I'm saying there, students? Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box of that statement of redeemability, students? Understand it very well, students, redeemability. So I'll write down here, students, another biggest challenge. Another biggest challenge is redeemability. In this case, David has the option to buy back the 60% stake, which is a redeemable option, which is a redeemable option. In simple terms, like a redeemable preference shares, like a redeemable what, students? Redeemable preference shares. You can buy that back preference shares as well. Therefore, since the stake has a period of 5 years, once again, this investment is not having any control. Rather, this is an investment. This is an investment with significant influence only. That is the ability to participate in the business decision, not the ability to make the business decision. Students, can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you are clear with that point of view there? So that is also considering that we are not a control. So in determining this, this is not having any control. So I'll write down here. Therefore, this investment does not have a control. Students, did you see how the answers was constructed? I think everyone got that clarity behind. They will never ask, they will ask you a question with technical content, but as a student, you need to, you refer the technical content and do the counter judgment as well. Now, students, now we know this is not a subsidiary anymore. We only have a significant influence only, considering all the other factors except the ownership factor. Now, ownership factor, if you have more than 51% ownership, that means you are the controlling stakeholder. But considering these other factors, we can come to a conclusion that we are not the controlling stakeholder. So I'm going to write down the part B of the answer. The part B of the answer is accounting treatment for the investment in Dream Sky. So I'm going to write it down. Accounting treatment for the investment in what, students? Dream Sky. Accounting treatment for the investment in Dream Sky. So students, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to continue more in detail so that you all will get the understanding very well. So I have to have a combination of the previous question connect because it is very important. In this case, as per the above explanation, we derived that Happywell only has a significant influence over, if I'm not mistaken, significant influence over Dream Sky. Therefore, IFRS 10 consolidated financial statement of acquisition method cannot be applied. Since it is not a subsidiary, students exaggeration. You understand this, students? Now you would have thought as a student, I could have directly write its equity method of accounting, but I exaggerated the answer. Students, I am always asking you, write it in an exaggerated manner, because I completely understand you are correct. Your thought process, I can feel it. You can directly write it. It is not a significant influence. So we can directly go with IAS 28, investment in associate. But I'll be very, very practical here, students. You need to connect it very applicable for that situation. So I'll write down here. Therefore, since acquisition method cannot be applied, in this case, the company needs to make sure the equity method of accounting needs to be applied in accordance with IAS 28. So within inverted commas, investment in associate. Now that is done. So students, I am going to continue this more in detail so that I'll understand. IAS 28, investment in associate, generally states that a company, an associate entity needs to adopt equity method of accounting where a line by line, where a single line adjustment needs to be made for the share of investment return only in the statement of profit or loss. In this case, share of associate Dream Sky can be 60% in the statement of profit or loss. And in the statement of financial position, below the asset class, in the non-current assets section, the company needs to mention investment in what? Investment in associate. 60% investment in associate. Therefore, in this case, the investment in associate will be 60%. And the company needs to include in the explanatory note the reason why a 60% stake is treated as investment in what, students? Investment in associate due to the other factors. Students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are clear with this explanation what I have mentioned, students? I believe this is a very detailed, exaggerated, look at the verb I'm using, students, exaggerated answer. And frankly, students, this is what examiner needs. Exposure of knowledge, exaggeration of knowledge, connecting with the situation, connecting with the situation. Thank you very much, students. Thank you very much. Now I'm coming to the last section of the answer. The last section of the answer is recommend with reason. How can Happywell initiate a strategy to work with Dream Sky after acquisition? Now, students, understand it very practically, students, that in this case, we are not able to work like a company works company. It's like a referral partner only, students. So that is very, 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 very important to understand that. Because students, some students will generally write the business model, creating value, defining value, delivering value, capturing residual value. No, in this case, you need to be very specific to the business situation. So I'll write down here, recommendation to initiate strategy with Dream Sky after the acquisition. Recommendation to initiate strategy with Dream Sky after acquisition. So that is also done. Now, students, I'm going to continue this more in detail so that you have to understand it very, very well. Now, students, the first thing is we have to understand the time period. Now, students, how many years is the business operation? For 7 years? Because we don't know what will happen. There are chances that David can buy back the shares within the 7 years also. So the first thing I have to understand is, since David has the option to buy back the investment in, if I'm not mistaken, 5 years time, sorry. In 5 years time, David has the investment, but buy back the investment in 5 years time. We have to plan for a time frame of 5 years for the moment, based on the terms of the arrangement, where a referral support is provided. Referral support is provided to Happywell. Only a referral support is provided to Happywell. So 5 years, how are we going to make use of this referral support is very, very important. So I'm going to continue. Therefore, this may provide a good option to remove this partnership as well. Remove the partnership as well in case if it doesn't work out. If it doesn't work out. Are you understanding that sentence, students? If it doesn't work out. So it's a good thing also. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. The next thing is, there needs to be a good communication between the business models and the mission and objectives of Happywell to Dream Sky. Since Happywell is very popular for high quality service, the website should refer customers who prefer quality as well. Therefore, in the website, Happywell can be the first suggestion. You can do it like Google does it. When you search something in Google, it will be showing these are the best things. So first suggestions that we can come. Based on the strategy of the best suggestions, there can be performance measurement regarding the customer rates in the business as well. Therefore, this will increase the business understanding of the new trends as well. There can be regular board meetings regarding the referral program, and we can provide suggestions for improvement. And last one I can say, finally, the customer survey and the data can be analyzed in the website, and we can make changes as per the needs of the customers. Therefore, this can be a very much productive model. Stop. Students, are you clear with this? Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you are fine with this, students? Any questions, any doubts you have, you can ask me, students. But this is the full answer that we have written at the moment, students. I believe you need to understand as a summary. I'll just write it down so that it will be easy. Now, this is what is important. Your technical knowledge, correct now, students? Your technical knowledge, relevance, your technical knowledge, relevance to unseen, using pre-seen. Look at the verbs. Technical knowledge, relevant to unseen, using pre-seen. Now, technical knowledge is only IFRS 10. Now, students, you should know that. And then 90% of the students, full-time students who doesn't go for work, they memorize everything. And when they see a situation like this, they effectively say, yes, it's a controlling state. We have to go with this. But a working student like y'all, you will have the exposure. And in that exposure, you will understand that although it is a 60% ownership, the control is not there because control is with David effectively. So the relevance to the unseen is there. And using the pre-seen, that means dream sky is something that you are aware about the pre-seen material. That is how you pass this exam, equals a pass. This is the very equation. Instead of minus, I will put plus. This is the equation of passing the exam. And don't worry, since your writing skills are becoming strong, I will do the technical element blended to the case study with the I can statements as requested by the students. So any questions you all have on today's class, I'm going to do a one-to-one discussion and you all can just let me know. Mr. Asanka, any questions for the day? Dr. Sharmin, any questions for the day?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Gugu, any questions for the day?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Manjuma, any questions for the day?
No, sir. I just want to confirm. Did you say we have the mock on Saturday?
Mock. Yeah, mock. I will do a mock, and from Saturday onwards, you will be getting the digital mocks. You need to do it by yourself, and I will be correcting, and I will be also giving the feedback, and I will be reviewing that as well. Is that fine?
It's okay, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kin, any questions for the day? Miss Lennon, any questions for the day? Mr. Lennon, any questions for the day? Miss Sigvalisi, any questions for the day?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, students. Thanks for your cooperation. So let's meet up in the next class on Saturday. And from Saturday onwards, the mock marathon is starting. Take care, students. Have a wonderful evening.